Dear students, I extend a hearty welcome to one of you. I am Dr. Abu Bakr Siddiq from the Department of Chemistry. I'll be handling you allied chemistry from this class. So, this being a very first class, let me give you some introduction about chemistry and then we'll deal with the subject radioactivity. How do you define the subject chemistry? The most optimum definition for chemistry is it's a branch of science that deals with the structure, composition, and properties of matter both in and around us. Structure, composition, properties of matter. In and around us. So this could be a possible definition for the subject. Every material that you find in you or around you is made up of atoms and molecules. And these molecules or atoms possess a definite structure. These molecules, when arranged in a fashion, gives you a structure. As a result of the structure and composition, every material possesses certain elements like carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium. You can consider every element in the periodic table. This is what we can say the composition of the matter. If you take carbohydrate, it consists of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. If you take a protein, it consists of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. If you take a cellulosic material, it consists of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. If you take a glass, it consists of silicon and oxygen. If you take a sand, it consists of silicon and oxygen. Or if you take a soil, it consists of several micro or macro nutrients or elements. So, every substance consists of a definite structure and composition. As a result of the structure and the composition of the matter, the substance develops a properties, say physical property, chemical property, or biological property. Physical properties like melting point, boiling point, chemical properties like reactivity, biological properties like reaction with the particular substance. Okay, so every substance can be studied using these three parameters: structure, composition, and parameter. Okay, so you can study every substance using these three parameters both in and around us. If you go into yourself, okay, so your body is made up of proteins and lipids. Your body consists of hormones. Your body secretes enzymes. Your body secretes mineral acid. And the hair which grows is nothing but a protein. It's called a dead protein called keratin. If you take a human cell or an animal cell, it consists of uh, when cytoplasm, nucleus, and if you go deep into the nucleus, it consists of nucleic acid. And if you study nucleic acids, it can be DNA and RNA. And if you go deep into DNA and RNA, you'll have purines and pyrimidines. And if you go deep into purines and pyrimidines, it is nothing but arrangement of certain atoms like carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, or oxygen. Okay. So if you go deep into yourself, you will find the elements of chemistry. If you go around, if you go out of you, around us, so surrounding us we have atmospheric air, okay, which consists of a mixture of gases like nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and some other gases. Okay, like if you look into the matter surrounding you, a tree, an animal, or a table, or a tube light, or electronic material, if you go for structural materials, so everything consists of atoms and molecule. Everything is built up by atoms and molecule, which can be studied through structure, composition, and properties. If you go even out of the space, the other planets consist of elements, rare elements, metals, ores, meteoroids. And if you go even out of that, okay, you will find a solar system. If you go out of that, you will find a galaxy. If you go out of that, you will find the universe. If you go out of that, the multiverse. If you go out of that, nobody knows. Okay. So chemistry is a subject by which you can study everything, both in you and around you. So I would like to repeat once again the possible definition for chemistry. Chemistry is a branch of science that deals with structure, composition, and properties of matter both in and around us. I hope you will remember this definition. Okay. Now let us get into the subject. So I will be handling you at first about radioactivity. Okay. What is radioactivity? You might have learned from the lower standards that certain nuclei emit radiations like alpha, beta, and gamma radiations. Okay, and those radiations are called emitted from radioactive nucleus. Okay, so naturally the elements can be categorized into elements which possess a stable nuclei and another category elements which possess an unstable nuclei. Most of the elements are stable by nature. They have a definite composition of neutrons and protons in the nucleus, and by which they are very much stable and they do not change into any other element. Okay, those nuclei are very much stable nuclei. Say for example, hydrogen, okay, carbon 12, and nitrogen 14. Okay, so like there are many examples I can be quoted. There are certain elements which are available in the nature and whose nuclei is found to be highly unstable. Those nuclei undergo disintegration, or they will emit corpuscular radiations like alpha, beta, and gamma radiations. As a result of that, the nuclei, after emitting the radiations, becomes a new one. Okay, say for example, uranium, thorium, polonium, radon, and these elements disintegrate. They keep on emitting the radiation, and this nuclei changes to a new one after a certain period of time. Okay, so this is mainly because of the structure of the nucleus. Okay, so let us see the reason why it emits the radiation in the forthcoming classes. Okay, so the property of emitting alpha, beta, gamma radiations are called radioactivity. Okay, so who discovered this radioactivity at first? So radioactivity was first discovered by Henry Becquerel. Henry Becquerel discovered this radiation. Henry Becquerel in 1896 discovered the term radioactive elements. Actually, it is a serendipity, it is an accident. He was studying about phosphorescence of certain substances. He was preceding his father A.C. Becquerel. While he was studying about phosphorescence of material, and one day he left a uranium phosphate one day he left uranyl potassium sulfate, a chemical, in a thick black paper, and then he left it on the table, which consists of a photographic plate. And a day later, when he observed, he found that there are some spots in the photographic plate. And then he later found that there are some radiations which could penetrate the thick black paper and produce some spots on the photographic plate. And later he discovered it as a radioactivity. A year before, X-ray was discovered by Roentgen, one of the very popular scientists. And his work was later preceded by Marie Curie and Pierre Curie. These two scientists, you know very well, they are very popular for discovering two elements, namely polonium and radon. Okay, the element polonium was named after their homeland, Poland. Okay, and radon was named because it gives out radiations. Okay, and they found that these two elements, polonium and radon, are more radioactive and could produce better results than radioactive elements. Okay, later his work was studied by a scientist called Rutherford. Rutherford, the scientist, he discovered that there are different types of radiations coming out of radioactive materials. He found that the ionizing radiations are ionizing by nature. They could ionize the radiation. Becquerel also identified the ionizing nature of the radiation. The radiation could ionize the gas. So as a result of the ionization capacity, the power of the radiations are determined. So Rutherford he later identified that radioactive materials, okay, when kept, it can reach so alpha radiations which are positively charged by nature because they move toward the negatively charged cathode. Beta radiations are negatively charged, they move toward the positively charged anode. And gamma radiations are unaffected by either negative or a positively charged electron. So he found that alpha radiations are positively charged and other radiation which is more ionizing and which is more powerful than alpha radiation is the beta radiation which is negatively charged, and gamma radiation which is much more powerful than alpha and beta which is undeflected by any electrode. So that means which is a chargeless. Okay. So these conclusions were arrived by Rutherford. Okay. Then what is the radioactive disintegration? So what happens when an element emits alpha, beta and gamma radiations? So when an element emits alpha radiations, okay, the new element which is formed, the daughter element which is formed, which will be whose atomic number will be less by 2 units and whose mass number will be less by 4 units. So he found that alpha radiations are nothing but helium. They are helium nuclei or helium atoms. Okay. So see this, when radium atomic number is written in the bottom 88 and mass number 226. When this emits alpha radiation, this becomes radon whose atomic number 86 and whose mass number is 222 and helium-24 which is nothing but alpha. Okay. So you can see this. Radium consists of atomic number 88. After irradiation, atomic number reduces by 2. Okay, so and the mass number reduces by 4. That means the emitted alpha radiation is a helium atom. Okay. Similarly, if beta is emitted, see, lead emits the beta radiation and becomes bismuth. Atomic number of lead is 82. On emitting the beta radiation, atomic number increases by 1 unit. So 82 becomes 83. Mass number of lead is 210 and the mass number remains unchanged. Okay. So that means an electron is emitted. Beta radiation is nothing but an electron. Okay, and hence it is a negatively charged. So by emitting an electron, okay, so lead becomes a bismuth. Okay, so with this we understand emission of a alpha particle reduces the atomic number by 2 and the mass number by 4, which is nothing but the emitted alpha radiations are helium nuclei. Whereas emission of beta particle increases the atomic number by 1 unit and there is no change in the mass. The emitted beta radiation is nothing but an electron. Okay. Whereas emission of a gamma radiation by any atom produces no change in the atomic number or a mass number. Okay. So there is only a kind of energy change which is taking place. There is no reduction in the number of neutrons or protons within the nuclei in the case of gamma emission of a gamma radiations. Okay. So I hope you have understood. Okay. So from this, amazingly, Sadi bosons the name of a scientist who observed this elevation of alpha and beta particle to various radioactive nuclei, and he has finally come to a conclusion that emission of if a radioactive nuclei emits alpha particle, then it gets shifted 2 units left to the periodic table. If a radioactive element emits a beta radiation, then it gets shifted 1 unit right to the periodic table. Okay, so this displacement is called a group displacement law. So emission of radioactive nuclei brings changes in the periodic table. So elements are changing its position in the periodic table. Groups of the positions in the group changes. If it emits alpha, 2 positions to the left. Okay, if it emits a beta radiation, 1 position to the right. Okay. So let me give you some example. See, polonium, atomic number is 84, mass number is 215. It emits alpha radiation and becomes lead. Atomic number is 82 and mass number is 211. Okay, so 2 units less in the atomic number and 4 units less in the mass number. So position of this element is 6a in the periodic table. Position of polonium is 6a in the periodic table. Position of lead in the periodic table is 4a. Okay, so from 6a to 4a. So by emitting alpha radiation, the element is shifted 2 positions left to the periodic table. Okay, by emitting a beta radiation, let us say so here lead is disintegrated to become bismuth by emitting a beta radiation. Okay, so atomic number increases by 1. So bismuth falls in 4a group, whereas lead falls in 4a group, whereas bismuth fall in 5a group. So by emitting a beta radiation, this element proceeds 1 group right to the periodic table. So lead to bismuth from 4a, group 4a to group 5a. Okay, so what this, look at this. Okay, so this is what is called a group displacement law in the in radioactivity. Okay, so you go through this lesson repeatedly. Here the subject, you can refer any physical chemistry book or inorganic chemistry book, or you can refer any book in nuclear physics or nuclear chemistry on this subject. Okay, so I am teaching you the very basics of radioactivity. Okay, If you have any questions, you can place it in the comment box. Thank you.